brother right here, you know where the gold comes from? The gold? Like gold, you know like where gold comes from?
Kush, right?
Well, no, but, yeah, okay, well, where's Kush?
It's supposed to be Africa.
It's in Africa, right? You know where uranium comes from?
The same place.
Yeah, it's from Africa. A lot of these, let me ask you this real quick. You do know that as an American nation, a lot of these Americans, they go to other countries and rob them of their resources, right? You know, like gas, uranium, gold, iron, diamonds, all this stuff, that's not native to America. We get that from somewhere. You want to know how Americans do that? They steal it. They steal it. They kill other people in other nations and they rob and rape them and take it for themselves. The same way they put us on them slave ships, the same way they enslaved the Native Americans here in this land, and they always want to rob and rape everybody and get everything for themselves. And guess what? These other nations, they have it. They are tired of it. They are so sick of it. They're like, you know what? We're going to side with each other and we're going to go against America. That was prophesied in the Bible. A lot of people don't want to believe in that. It said, what nation shall rise against nation? Where you at right now? You was at Isaiah? Let me get, no, matter of fact, no, stay at Isaiah real quick. I'm going to get to that in a second. My whole point, I got you 1 second, brother. My whole point is that these nations were prophesied in the Bible to go against America because Esau's nation is going to come down. Matter of fact, let me get 2 Ezra 6 and 9. Let me get 2 Ezra 6 and 9. That's in the Apocrypha, right? And I'm going to read off some things for you because I don't want anybody to think that I'm lying real quick, right? I'm going to read off 2 things. So this brother next to me, he's going to get 2 Ezra 6 and 9. And then I'm going to read off something from you. It's going to be on Google. I know a lot of people, you know, they say, you know, Google is free, right? Google is free. So we're going to read a couple of things real quick. So now, let me read that real quick. 2 Ezra 6 and 9. Go ahead.
The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
So it says that Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Does anybody know who Esau is in the Bible? I know y'all seen us around a couple of times, but y'all don't want to believe it's okay. You said who?
What they call Jesus, right?
Nah, Esau not Jesus, Esau not Jesus. I'm gonna read it off for you real quick. Matter of fact, I got something for you real quick. You got your phone out right now? No sweat. If you can read this off for me real quick. I Googled it and I screenshotted it just for everybody to know what it is. So the question that I proposed in Google was, who are the descendants of Esau in the Bible? And Google popped up and it showed who are the descendants of Esau in the Bible. So we're gonna read it. Go ahead, Art.
There is a Jewish tradition stemming from the Talmud that the descendants of Esau would eventually become the Romans and to a larger extent all Europeans.
It says all who?
All Europeans.
One more time.
All Europeans.
It said all Europeans. So when we come out here, you know, the I.S.U.P.K, Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West. When we come out here and we say that the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, and we say that Esau is the Edomites that you know of today, that yeah, Europeans today are the descendants of Esau, and people look at us like we crazy. What are you talking about? That has nothing to do with the Bible. But we just read right now that we just Googled and said, who are the descendants of Esau in the Bible? It would be your so-called Europeans today. And not some of them, all of them. So this is your oppressor. So read 2 Ezra 6 and 9 one more time, just so you can get some depth behind the scripture real quick.
Go ahead. The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth.
So this is what I'm getting at real quick. When it says nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, when it says in when it says in 2 Ezra chapter 6 verse 9 that pretty much Esau's time is coming to an end, this is all biblical. This was all prophesied to happen because the world is in the hands of the wicked right now. I asked that brother, I said, you think earth is a good place? He said, hell no. Because he recognizes the evil. These other nations recognize the evil that the so-called Edomites, the Europeans, all Europeans, not some of them, but all Europeans have committed in the land. When they put hands on so-called black people and enslaved them. When they put hands on the so-called Mexicans and enslaved them and robbed them of their land and broke all the peace treaties. When they did all these things and they continue to rob, rape, and murder us to this day. And y'all like to say, well, you know, you black people, y'all always victimizing yourselves. No, we're not victimizing ourselves. We're just bringing up facts. Let me tell you something right now. A lot of you people have done the same thing. Everybody been to school, right? How many of you have learned about the Holocaust in your school? I see one brother, you raising his hand over there. I see somebody else raising your hand, you raising your hand too.
I didn't learn it in school.
But you learned about the Holocaust though, you learned about it, right? So let me ask you a question, brother. Do you know how long the Holocaust lasted? You don't know? 12 years. The Holocaust lasted 12 years. How long did slavery last? 400 plus years. Happened way longer. Now here's the thing. 400 plus years. Say it louder for them out. 400. Clap it up for that brother, man. That's a spirit right there. Because that brother, he recognizes the injustice that our people serve, man. Matter of fact, let me get Revelation 13 and 10. Revelation 13 and 10. Now I'm going to give you some facts about the Holocaust, right? The Holocaust was a horrible thing that happened to the Jewish people, right? So-called Jewish, because they're not really the real Israelites according to the Bible, right? That's been brought out many a times, but I'll save that for another brother. My point being is, they got reparations for the injustice that their people had faced when they went to them concentration camps, when they were burned alive and gassed. Guess what? The Jewish community made it very important so that they can go out and bring justice to their people. They made sure that them Germans, look, y'all go look it up for yourself. There were Germans as old as 80, 90 years old, still being prosecuted for the crimes that they have committed against the Jewish community. Now, here's the thing. Not all Jewish people were slaves. Not all of them. Some of them lived. Some of them are Holocaust survivors. Some of them are still alive today. My point being is, they got the reparations, and I watched a video of a Jewish woman, and she broke this down. She said it's so important for an oppressed people to get reparations, some type of reparations, to get the justice that they would deserve, because it serves not just as a financial aspect, but also as a emotional and psychological aspect as well. Because somewhere along the line, their descendants know that my people were brought justice to some extent. But guess who can't say that? So-called black people, so-called Native Americans, so-called Latinos, who are in fact a lot of Native Americans and black people. You just call them Afro-Latinos at some point. My point being is, we never got those reparations. You want to know why you still hear black people complaining? Well, you probably like, well, you're not a slave. They like to say, oh, well, I wasn't a slave owner. I didn't do anything to you. This has nothing to do with me. Here's the thing. There's a thing called systematic racism. And as a byproduct, as a white American, believe it or not, yes, you do adhere to the same system that put my people down. And I'm going to tell you why. A lot of your ancestors owned plantations. A lot of these banks owned plantations. This is a proven fact. We had to make up laws in order for black people to be on the same playing field. You know, affirmative action is no longer a thing. Does anybody know what affirmative action is? Affirmative action, brother. Long story short, you know how black people could get, well, we used to be able to get scholarships to go to like HBCU, stuff like that, right? The whole point of that was to even the playing field, because at one point, our ancestors, our grandmothers, our grandfathers, who are a lot of them are still alive today, they did not get to go into college. They didn't have the money to get into these universities. So we had affirmative action to even the playing field. But now we don't have affirmative action anymore. Did you know that statistically in America, the mortality rates for black women is 2.6 times higher than white women, due to the fact that they are not met with the proper necessities in that hospital, and they are met with negligence from doctors?